Taoiseach, this government and previous governments have failed to grasp the winds of change in regard to drug reform. When other states are changing course, this state, I would argue, has stagnated in relation to drug reform. And in the last 20 years, 10,000 people in this state have died of drug-related deaths. It's an incredible statistic. That's 500 people every single year. And there are 500 people that were in the state. And I would argue, Taoiseach, if these people had different postal addresses and postal codes, the response from this government and previous governments would have been very, very different. Very, very different. We are in a situation, Taoiseach, where it's unsustainable. The amount of resources that go into criminalising people in relation to drug use doesn't work. Joe Biden announced last week in relation to cannabis use and so forth, and that's very welcome. But in this state, Taoiseach, we criminalise people for using drugs. The majority of people in the prison population are there for drug offences. The resources that go into criminalising people simply don't work, and we need to do something very, very, very different.
Deputy Kenny has outlined the appalling death toll in Ireland from drug abuse, and I think there's a number of approaches to dealing with this. I would say, part of the issue we have, I think, it tends to be stop-start initiatives. In other words, we need a continuous perseverance in communities in relation to drug traffickers and all of that, but also in terms of giving young people supports so that they can deal with the pressures that they come under, and also then stronger supports in terms of facilities, services to help people come off a particular addiction. And also there are consideration being given in respect of some offences and so on, to decriminalise some. So I think the government is open to reform in relation to drug policy and believe in a health-oriented approach as opposed to a criminal justice-oriented approach in respect of those who use drugs. The situation is very serious in the country in terms of the impact of addiction generally on people and the degree to which it ruins people's lives. So we are allocating fairly significant resources to the issue across health, justice and education. But that needs to continue, it needs to persevere. But I also think an area-based response can yield results as well. And that is why I referenced earlier that we're anxious to develop that. The drug task forces in an earlier era worked. They worked well. The issue is some of them were discontinued. And they should have been persevered with. And these are facilities, or these are frameworks you put in place for the long haul, not the short haul, where you have multidisciplinary teams working on the ground, working with schools, working with childcare, working with parents, working with homes and families, and the agencies working together. And where that happens, you can get good outcomes and good results.